So what could be the impact to those living in the heart of oil country? Clean Skies Dan Goldstein went to Morgan City, Louisiana to find out.
This is G&J Land and Marine. If you're on a deepwater drilling rig, G&J is your grocery store. Everything from bread, canned peaches, and bottled water for rig workers goes into trucks here in Morgan City and onto boats heading for the Gulf.
How's the new guy doing?
Eric Lind employs 80 workers running supplies out to rigs, including 10 of the 33 deepwater rigs the Obama administration ordered shut down. 25% of his business. Without them, it could mean layoffs later this summer.
If some of those deepwater rigs, the 10 that we have leave the Gulf, it's certainly going to hurt us, and we're going to have to get smaller to adjust.
Eric Smith of Tulane University's Energy Institute puts the job losses in the region at 87,000 if those drilling rigs start to sail to jobs outside the Gulf.
These rigs, if they leave, they'll take a few crewmen with them. It's basically the senior crew. But the vast majority of those 240 people will be left behind.
And it's not just the 33 rigs in the Gulf, the deepwater ones, that the community is really worried about. It's training rigs like this one on the banks of the Atchafalaya River. If you were a student in the oil business, this is where you have to go to learn. Now the students are few and far between.
Give your signal, put your hand down, and make them big. There you go.
Michael Bean, a 27-year-old from Venice, Louisiana, is aboard Mr. Charlie, an old drilling rig that's got a new lease on life, training new oil workers. Bean is learning how to sling loads. Now he's worried if there will be work.
A lot of companies, you look at a lot of rigs that's going to shut down. It's going to cause a lot of different controversy between different companies, especially as far as the construction side of the industry and the drilling side. Because if there's no drilling to go on, how is there any construction to go on?
That worry has impacted classes here. Virgil Allen, a 40-year veteran of the oil fields who runs Mr. Charlie, says companies just aren't paying for training if there's no work. Allen trains workers to clean up the spill, and while that's helped, it may not last.
When that gets cleaned up and you need fewer men and women in that industry, then we'll see a drop in that enrollment also.
Not all businesses are hurting. Some are getting more work.
Once it's clamped up, everything's ready to go, we're going to depart the cage.
This is Oceaneering International, the biggest makers of remote-operated vehicles, or ROVs. Capping the well means plenty of work, and business is still clicking, with some ROVs working 24/7.
We're operating 70 ROV systems. 35 of those 70 ROVs are associated with drilling operations in the Gulf of Mexico. We're on 29 of the 33 rigs. Each ROV system requires an 8-man crew.
Pat Menina heads the company's ROV division. He says salvaging the Deepwater Horizon wreckage to find answers will provide plenty of work, even with the moratorium. But the ban on deepwater drilling lifts in 6 months.
It's not going to be like turning a light switch on. When the moratorium ends, all these rigs come back.
Environmentalists point out the biggest job losses aren't in the oil industry, but livelihoods directly hurt by the spill.
Tens of thousands of people were put out of work by this oil spill. Fishermen, small business owners, recreational people, hotels, restaurants. What about them? It's really a jobs versus jobs issue out here, and I would submit that far more people have been put out of work, some of them permanently. Some of them are killed by the risk of deepwater oil drilling.
Ditching.
And the risks in deep water are real. These students are getting a crash course in what it's like to commute to a deepwater rig, starting with learning how to survive ditching in a helicopter at sea. But with the starting pay offshore as much as $70,000 a year, it's worth it to these 18-year-olds out of high school. Michael Bean started like them nearly a decade ago. Now he has a 4-month-old baby at home, and he wonders what the industry will look like down the road.
It'll be an oil industry, but it'll be very, very, very slow one. And a lot of people are going to be out of work.
And he's just hoping he isn't one of them. In Morgan City, Louisiana, Dan Goldstein, Clean Skies News.